What if the next great Detroit twist is already rumbling under the turf at Ford Field? Would you feel it in your chest before anyone announces it? What if the move that flips the NFC on its head isn't loud at first, just a heartbeat that grows into a drumline? And what if the window isn't quietly opening? It's flung open by a player built for the cold, for the noise, for the kind of football this city calls sacred. Think about the last 12 months. The way this franchise turned faith into evidence. We stopped being a nice story and became a problem, the kind of team opponents feel on Monday. Dan Campbell didn't sell slogans, he soldered identity. Brad Holmes didn't chase splash, he stacked substance. The result is a locker room that talks like a family and hits like a freight train. Now ask yourself, what's the one lever that, if pulled at the perfect moment, could turn good into inevitable? Picture a January night in Detroit, breath fogging, crowd vibrating, the offensive line coiled like steel springs. You can already see it. The philosophy becomes physics. Penei Sewell sealing edges like a vault door. Frank Ragnow setting the angle with surgeon calm. A runner taking the handoff and turning doubt into dust, one cut, and the stadium tilts. Defenses are tired of chasing motion. They want no part of a storm that gets stronger with contact. Before names, forget the gossip and taste the fit. This offense is built on angles, leverage, patience, and then violence. It's a symphony that starts in 12 personnel and ends with a safety making a business decision. Jahmyr Gibbs is our lightning strike, David Montgomery is our hammer, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is the truth serum that forces honest coverage. But there's a version of this blueprint that adds a third act, the one that makes coordinators say the quiet part out loud. We can't live like this for whispers, always. Start like static, then they start to rhyme. A high-end runner who thrives in zone and gap, who punishes light boxes, who can flex out and catch option routes against linebackers who would rather be anywhere else. A star who has been forced to carry a city on his back before and didn't blink. A leader who knows the weight room, the rehab room, the spotlight, and understands that rings don't care about resumes, only about January yards after contact. Cap mechanics? Complicated, sure. Trade math? Not for the faint of heart. But this front office has turned impossible into give us a minute more than once. You restructure where you must. You add void years where you can stomach them, and you pay in draft capital only if the calculus says banners are closer than they look in the rear view. This is not fantasy. This is risk management with a blue-collar accent. Why do it at all when the backfield is already good? Because good doesn't scare February. Because windows are shorter than emotions. Because there are moments in a franchise's life where you either double down on your identity or you watch the league sprint past you while you admire your restraint. Detroit didn't climb out of the dark by being careful. We climbed because we believed, and then we hit harder than the doubt. Scheme fit matters. Imagine motion to the boundary, tight end sift, backside cutback, and a runner who sees the crease before it exists, who turns shoulders square and dares the free safety to be a hero. Imagine play action that looks identical until the instant. It isn't. Linebackers frozen by respect for the run while Jared Goff drops a moonball into Jameson Williams' stride. The math becomes cruel. Load the box and get bombed, play too high and get bludgeoned. Pick your pain. Culture matters even more. We aren't building a fantasy roster. We are protecting a code. The guy we're talking about has survived the hype machine, the injury machine, and the prove-it-again machine. He doesn't need a brand. He needs a lane and a reason. Detroit gives him both. And don't forget leadership. There's a difference between noise and gravity. Some players bring cameras. Some players bend locker rooms toward the work. So here it is, spoken plain, so the football gods can hear us. The name lighting up late-night group chats in Detroit is Saquon Barkley. Sit with it for a second. Not as a headline, as a fit, as a problem for defensive coordinators who already wake up hoarse after a week of Lions tape. Saquon in Honolulu blue behind this line is not a trend. It's a thesis. He turns 2nd and 7 into 2nd and 2. He turns a check down into a sermon. He turns a tired drive into a gut punch. And he does it without stealing from Gibbs. He completes him. Thunder and lightning, yes, but with a third weather pattern. Inevitability. The economics are the adult in the room, and we respect that. He's on a multi-year deal elsewhere, and pulling him out would require real assets. You don't break the bank without a ring in the budget. But look at the life cycle. Detroit's core is ascending now. The line is elite now. The quarterback is in rhythm now. The defense is learning how to finish now. How many more nows do you think a league this ruthless will give you? If the cost is high, but the payoff is parades, do you blink or do you bite? From a usage standpoint, nothing gets wasted. Gibbs remains the space artist, the motion magnet, the linebacker eraser. Montgomery stays the tone setter. Saquon becomes the gravity. You don't chase touches, you chase leverage. Two-back sets force base personnel. Pony looks generate mismatches. Empty with a halfback who runs real routes, tilts the chessboard. And when December turns the ball into a brick, you hand it to a man who runs like he's paying back every doubt ever spoken. There's a human layer we can't ignore. Detroit understands scars. This city knows how to take pain and wrap it in purpose. Saquon's journey is written in bursts and bruises, in headlines and silence. Here, he wouldn't be asked to be a savior. He'd be invited to be a brother. That matters in a league that pretends players are just numbers on spreadsheets. It's not just fit, it's belonging. Tactically, think about short yardage solves. We've been good, we can be automatic. Duo with backside hinge, inside zone with insert, toss crack to the wide side when corners are allergic to contact. Pair that with RPO glance when safeties. Creep and watch the field shrink for defenses. Every coordinator talks about taking something away. This move makes them choose between oxygen and water, and don't overlook the ripple effect. Play action becomes poisonous when the run threat is visceral. St. Brown eats on crossers. Sam Laporta becomes a nightmare on stick nod. Jameson widens safeties just by existing, and suddenly the third and medium menu reads like a tasting course. You can steal possessions without trick plays, just by being relentlessly, unapologetically yourself for 60 minutes. Now, realism check. Nobody's handing over a star for a handshake and a second-rounder. Philadelphia is built to win, and the Lini One are not in the charity business. This would require timing, leverage, and the rare convergence where both front offices see the same horizon from different sides. Maybe it's injuries, maybe it's cap timing, maybe it's a three-team triangle where needs align like constellations. Or maybe it never leaves the realm of what if, a mural sketched in rumor and erased by the morning. But let me ask you, Lions fans, what is the point of being this close if not to dream with intention? The worst teams dream without math. The best teams do math until the dream turns practical. That's Detroit's lane. You make the call. You lay the groundwork. You let the league know that if a door opens even a crack, the Honolulu Blue will be there with a shoulder wide enough to blow it off the hinges. Imagine the first carry at Ford Field. The crowd realizes who's in the backfield, and the sound doesn't rise, it drops, like a low note from a pipe organ, heavy and ancient. Snap, mesh, one cut. A safety takes a prayer angle, the chain crew jogs, and everyone in the building feels the season click into place, like a key turning when you didn't know you'd been locked out. You can be cynical and say it's just a rumor, that it belongs to the content machine. Maybe. But the difference between noise and signal in this league is often as thin as a pulling guard's jersey. What matters is that Detroit is now a destination in conversations that used to ignore us. That's not hype, that's growth. And growth demands boldness, not for headlines, but for hardware. So here's where I land, heart on sleeve, eyes on February, make the call, do the homework, Protect the locker room code, protect the cap discipline that got us here, and if the math still says go, then go like a team that knows who it is. If it dies on the vine, we keep our powder dry and the identity intact. If it sparks, we ride the storm we built with our own hands. Either way, this is a Detroit Conversations. Now about leverage, not longing. About windows measured in winners, not wish lists. And if the football gods decide it's not our path this year, fine. We keep building the same way we started, with grit, with craft, with Sundays that make the city louder. But if even a sliver opens, if the fit meets the moment, you already know the vision. The yard markers blur, the clock slows, and Detroit runs toward the thing we've been chasing all our lives. Together, with a, for now, file it under disciplined hope. Nothing. Official, no guarantees, just a rumor with teeth and a city that knows how to bite. And if it stays a dream, it will still have done its job, reminding the league that Detroit is awake, hungry, and one ruthless decision away from making every Sunday feel like winter in someone else's bones. Until ink meets paper, it remains. A rumor, tempting. When the window creaks, do the lions run through it?